Sometimes fixing obesity requires us to address the trauma that causes people to overeat to begin with. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And something that I'm going to talk about, this is going to be kind of personal. But when it comes to obesity and overeating, binge eating, people have to understand, yes, there's absolutely a food component and a social component, right? But there's also a mental health component. And until we look at the big picture, a lot of times people are going to struggle to lose weight. And I'm one of those people that's been very open, very honest about my own past regarding overeating and all of these things. My own issues with having been over 300 pounds. So keep in mind, I'm 47 now. Yes, I'm obviously fit, strong, all those things, but that wasn't always the case. And yes, I love to talk about food and food culture and how we as a society need to address these things, and probably should, in terms of what we eat. But we also have to look at the underlying problem of, why do people binge eat to begin with? Why do they overeat? And there is, again, trauma. And I'll use myself as the example. And for those who can't handle these sort of stories, this is a little bit of warning ahead of time. Just be prepared for that. If you can't handle any discussion of childhood trauma, this is a disclaimer. You may want to tune out now, although I won't get graphic. But in my case, I am a survivor of severe childhood abuse. Okay. And it started when I was approximately 4 years old, and it lasted for 3 years. Kind of until my mother figured out what was going on, and we moved just to get out of the situation. So in that case, starting at a very young age, I had some close family members, husband and wife, who they moved in next door to us. We were in a rural community, right? My family didn't have much money at the time. My parents did a lot better later, when I was later in life. But back then they weren't. They didn't make a lot of money, and we were definitely lower into working class at that time, and lived in a rural area. So my family members, two of them had moved in next door, and what was not addressed is that there was a family history of very serious abuse. This individual had abused other members of the family, including at least 3 of his sisters, again, one of 7 children. And it wasn't addressed at that time yet. And so my mother had no clue about it. Right? She had no clue that this had been happening with the other side of the family. And as a result of that, I was put in that situation. And here's the thing. This is someone who had a history of doing this, and they kind of knew how to keep it under wraps. And in that case, one of the things they did, one of the tactics to keep me silent, was to give me ice cream. Okay? And anytime after I needed to be soothed and I was crying and upset, these people kept large amounts of ice cream in their house. And I mean very, very large. Again, he was very overweight. So I'm talking like almost all the major flavors of a Bluebell ice cream, and just gallons and gallons of it. And anytime afterwards, when I needed to be comforted, I was given unlimited ice cream of any type that I wanted. And I was told, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. You can eat as much ice cream as you want. Just eat as much ice cream as you want. Any flavor you want. You want 2 or 3 different flavors. You can have as much ice cream as you want till you feel better. Much ice cream as you need to stop crying and to be okay. Well, think about that for a minute. I was taught at 4 years old the way to comfort and soothe trauma was to eat any type of ice cream I wanted, unlimited quantities, until everything was okay, till I felt better. Right? Now, I was taught this at a young age. Didn't even have full memories of what had happened till many years later. Right? A lot of it came out in therapy. But what was the end result? I ended up being over 300 pounds because I was taught that the way to soothe trauma, as someone who had experienced trauma, was to binge on ice cream. Unlimited amounts. You just eat until the pain is gone. You can eat the pain away. All right? We live in a society where we are taught one of the unhealthy coping mechanisms in general. In a society that doesn't always address mental health, it doesn't address trauma or any of these things the way that we should. All right? Not addressed the way that we should. One of our coping mechanisms, if you're having a bad day, so we're just taught this, have a treat. Reward yourself. We reward ourselves for trauma. We reward ourselves. You deserve this because you're having a bad day. You'll feel better if you eat this junk. We also reward ourselves with junk as a reward for accomplishments. We do it for social events to celebrate, right? Our lives as a society revolve around junk food and garbage. And we consider it a good thing. It's spun in a positive light. It's not hey, this is a rare thing. Maybe we should eat only on special occasions, but in moderation. No, we're taught that it's a great thing, a wonderful thing. It's how you celebrate. You deserve it if you've achieved something. We have pizza parties, ice cream parties, as kids, at work. We're taught that if you're having a bad day, we'll have some stuff and, have this junk, this garbage. It really isn't even food for the most part, guys. Most of the stuff's not food. It's just hyper palatable processed junk that we eat in place of food. And we're taught this as a society. Here's our issue. We're doing it in a society where we don't address mental health and we don't address trauma. Trauma goes oftentimes largely untreated. Okay? And then we're in this food environment with these sort of foods and taught this as a society with unlimited access to just refined garbage everywhere. And then we wonder why we have an obesity epidemic. We wonder why the majority of Americans are overweight. We wonder why cardiovascular disease is by far the number one killer. And then diabetes and cancer right behind it. These are largely, with the exception of some cancers, all of these are completely preventable diseases. They're lifestyle induced. And this is what kills us. Okay? Because we don't address the trauma. And we use food as an acceptable, addictive coping mechanism. Okay. Till we start addressing this problem from all angles, it's going to probably just keep getting worse, if that's even possible. Right? We have to start doing so. And for a lot of you out there, you're going to have to address that. If you're struggling with weight loss, it could be a point where you're going to have to address that trauma sooner or later. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.